At 26.79 degrees north and 82.19 degrees east on the map of the world lies the temple town of Ayodhya. A place that is believed to stretch back to times beyond the realm of history. Ayodhya, on the banks of the river Sarayu, is one of the holiest pilgrimage sites for Vaishnavite Hindus who believe their god Ram was born here. Till 1992, a mosque stood at the exact same place where the followers of Ram believed he was born. Then on 6th of December 1992, thousands of Hindu activists who had gathered in Ayodhya brought down the mosque, 464 years after it was built. In 1528, when the first Mughal ruler Babri had already established his suzerainty over Hindustan, his general Mir Baqi built a mosque in Ayodhya. The mosque was situated on a mount, and over the centuries, a section of the Hindu community began claiming that the Mughals built it by demolishing a structure that marked Ram's birthplace. In 1853, the first records exist of a Hindu-Muslim riot over the Masjid in Ayodhya. The then ruler of India, the English East India Company or Company Bahadur, put up fences dividing the courtyard into two of what had come to be known as the Babri Masjid. The Muslims were told to offer prayers in the inner courtyard, while the Hindus were told to worship on the outer one. A small wooden platform came up in the outer courtyard where an idol of the infant Ram or Ram Lalla was established. And so remained the status quo for 96 years. In 1947, when the British left, dividing the realm between India and Pakistan, and communal clashes seared the countryside, there began renewed demands for Hindu control over the Babri Masjid and the establishing of a Ram Mandir in its place. In 1948, the district magistrate of Faizabad declared the place as disputed land and locked the main door of the Babri Masjid. It was ordered that two guards would take turns to ensure that the lock remained in place. One was to be a Hindu, the other a Muslim. On the intervening night of 22nd, 23rd December 1949, an idol of the infant Ram appeared inside the mosque. It was placed in the inner sanctorum. The Hindus immediately claimed it a miracle, and further proof of the spot being the birthplace of Ram. Over the next few days, the news spread like wildfire, and the followers of Ram began to congregate at the spot. In early 1950, the first suit was filed in court by one Gopal Singh Visharad, asking for right to worship. The court restrained removal of idols and allowed worship to continue. In 1959, Nirmohi Akhada filed a suit asking for possession of the spot, claiming it was the custodian for the spot at which Ram was born. In December 1981, the Uttar Pradesh Sunni Central Board of Waqfs moved court to claim possession of Babri Masjid. In February 1986, the Rajiv Gandhi government, in what was seen as a move to appease Hindus, told the UP state government to remove its objections to the unlocking of the Babri Masjid. Given an assurance that it would not create a law and order situation, the district court in Faizabad ordered the locks removed. Till then, a solitary priest had been permitted to perform puja once a year. But with the gates thrown open, all the devout got access to their Ram Lalla. On 1st of July 1989, a civil suit was filed in the name of Bhagwan Sri Ram Lalla Virajman for declaration and possession of the masjid complex. And on 23rd of October 1989, all four disputes were merged and transferred onto a special bench of the Allahabad High Court. But exactly a year later to the day, a more dramatic development was to unfold that would heighten the crisis to a point of no return. If there is one march in the annals of independent India that marks the end of an epoch and the beginning of another, it is the Rath Yatra led by Lal Krishna Advani in 1990. Advani, also called the Iron Man of the BJP, changed the face of the party and introduced the concept of hardline Hindutva as the core political ideology of the BJP. And the Rath Yatra that he began on 25th of September 1990 cemented his reputation as a Hindu hardliner. But the clamour was that the Rath Yatra was fomenting communal hatred. It was pitting Hindus against Muslims.
He started in a very mild fashion in Gujarat. He didn't make any provocative statements. So it was not known at that time what is the nature, because earlier also programs of carrying bricks and all were there, and even the left governments allowed it. Its real nature came later on, unfolded when he came to his own governments.
As Advani and his Rath crossed state after state, it became a matter of not only law and order in the country, but a question of political expediency. Who would have the gall to stop the Hindu juggernaut? In Bihar, the Janata Dal Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav warned Advani that he would not be allowed to cross into Uttar Pradesh. Not heeding the repeated threats, Advani's Rath continued on towards Ayodhya. Till finally, Lalu Prasad Yadav proved he had it in him to bell the cat. On 23rd of October 1990, L.K. Advani was arrested at Samastipur Circuit House in Bihar, bringing to an abrupt halt his 28-day-old Rath Yatra. The then BJP president had been riding a modern-day chariot from the temple of Somnath in Gujarat, travelling across 9 states. He planned to reach Ayodhya on October 30th to participate in the massive Hindu mobilization that was underway to build a Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, at the spot where they stood, the Babri Masjid. The twin towns of Ayodhya and Faizabad had turned into a fortress as the area around Babri Masjid was fortified to stop car sevaks from reaching the site. But VHP and Bajrang Dal activists continued to pour into Ayodhya, evading police barricades. On October 30th, 1990, thousands of car sevaks thronged the Hanuman Gadi crossing. Despite the curfew, first-time BJP MP Uma Bharti, VHP Joint Secretary Ashok Singhal, and Swami Vamdeo of the RSS led about 15,000 car sevaks towards the Babri Masjid. A few car sevaks even managed to climb the dome of the mosque and unfurl a saffron flag on top.
उस दिन मेरे ख्याल से 2 जत्थे निकले थे, एक हनुमान जी के मंदिर के सामने से, एक थोड़ा साइड से ऐसे बगल से निकला। जो बगल से निकला था उसमें बिल्कुल लड़ाई ऐसे हो रही थी जैसे युद्ध हो रहे होते हैं, एक तरफ जनता और एक तरफ मुलायम सिंह का शासन।
With instructions from the Mulayam Singh government to not allow any damage to the mosque, the police resorted to firing at the crowd. The incident earned the Chief Minister of UP the title of Mullah Mulayam and would cost him his seat. At the centre, with the BJP having removed outside support, the VP Singh government lost its vote of confidence in Parliament and general elections were announced. The BJP, wanting to cash in on the belligerent Hindu sentiments that the Rath Yatra had unleashed, mounted a shrill campaign centered around the Ram Mandir issue.
ये लोग कहते हैं कि आप हिंदू वोट बैंक बना रहे हैं। मैंने कहा मैं हिंदू वोट बैंक नहीं बना रहा हूं, मैं पेट्रियोटिक वोट बैंक बना रहा हूं, मैं नेशनल वोट बैंक।
When the Congress party went to the length of amending even the criminal law to undo the Supreme Court judgment on Shah Banu, went to the length of promoting Ram Rajya, starting its election campaign from Ayodhya, that we felt that this is pure crass vote bank politics which has to be confronted by an strong ideological approach, and we did it.
In the 1991 Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly elections, the BJP won absolute majority. And the new Chief Minister Kalyan Singh handed over a 2.77-acre patch of land in front of the Babri Masjid to the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas on lease. In October 1992, the VHP announced a grand car seva on the 6th of December the same year. On 27th November, the Kalyan Singh government assured the Supreme Court that the state government was fully committed to safeguarding Babri Masjid. By the 5th of December 1992, an estimated 2.5 lakh people had gathered around the disputed structure.
मैं अपनी कुर्बानी देने के लिए आया हूं, लेकिन मंदिर बनेगा और वही बनेगा।
मंदिर का निर्माण नहीं होता है तब तक सब चलता रहेगा। जितने प्रकार का निर्माण होता है सब होगा।
I came to the clear conclusion that the plan is to demolish the mosque. I didn't want to tell this to the Prime Minister because for reasons by then I was convinced that he's not going to act. But I told the Home Secretary then, and I told him that you start preparing for whatever posture you want to take after the mosque is demolished.
The mood was very jubilant as far as the car sevaks was concerned. They were all shouting slogans, Mandir wahi banayenge, Jai Shri Ram, and there so many other slogans. But there was something in the air which told you that, you know, something more is going to happen. Maybe we were expecting something like car seva at the disputed site. They may force them in that particular, beyond the security cordon and do the car seva at the disputed site. Maybe the sanctum. Create some kind of a trouble inside the disputed structure, break some walls and, you know, things like that. But nobody expected that the entire structure would come down.
Overnight, barricades around the disputed structure had been erected and security forces deployed.
आज की तैयारी कैसी है?
पूरी तैयारी है, पूरी व्यवस्था बनी हुई है, लोगों में उत्साह है
और कुछ होने की आशंका
On 6th of December, people began assembling from early morning. Sadhus, car sevaks, journalists and BJP top leadership, everyone was there. Around 11 a.m., the first of the car sevaks broke through the cordon.
We were talking to the SSP, Mr. D.V. Rai, and he was very confident that nothing was going to happen. He was laughing away and, you know, he's telling us that why are you wasting time here, there's nothing going to happen, and we have had such big crowds so many times, nothing happens, and there are Supreme Court directives, the government doesn't want anything to happen. So just go home, have your breakfast and relax. We'll tell you in the evening what happened. Around that time only, you know, the commotion started. In minutes, we could see a few heads trying to climb the disputed structure from the hind side. And nobody expected that the attack would come from there. So all of us, most of the journalists who were gathered there, for a top view, we went to the Manas Bhavan, which is situated right in front of that structure. And on top, I think we clicked a couple of pictures of people climbing up from the hind side, and these car sevaks increasing their chants of Jai Shri Ram and Mandir wahi banayenge and things like that. And then they started testing the barricades all over. The barricades started breaking, and finally journalists also were being chased at the Manas Bhavan rooftop. So we tried to quietly move out of that place. And just down the road, we were coming down towards this Thana so that we could be in a safer zone. So about 500 yards from this place, we were caught by the car sevaks, and a group of about 400, 500 car sevaks, they overpowered us, took away our bags, about 500 yards from this place. Then they brought us here, and here we were made to sit. Murga Banjao is what they said. Raghu Rai was here, Prashant Panjar was there. There were a couple of photographers from Germany who the car sevaks mistook for staff of the BBC, and they were irritated by the BBC. And these guys, poor guys, had just landed in the country a couple of days before, and they didn't know what this was all about. So we tried to calm them and also calm the high tempers of the car sevaks.
By 11:43 a.m., some car sevaks climbed on top of the dome of the Masjid. A sense of hysteria seemed to have gripped the congregation. Despite appeals by political leaders present at the scene, the car sevaks attempted to demolish the structure that the Kalyan Singh government had given assurance to the Supreme Court it would protect. Voices were barely heard over the chants of the crowd. By 12:05 p.m., all three domes were submerged under the car sevaks. Hundreds more started attacking the base of the structure.
मैं पीछे राम दीवार पर जाकर के खड़ी हो गई और मैंने कार सेवकों को कहा भी कि आप लोग नीचे उतरिए। तो वैसे मानने को मेरे हाथ में मेगाफोन था, उससे मैंने कहा, लेकिन उन्होंने मुझे हाथ से मना कर दिया। तो फिर मैंने उनको नीचे खड़ी हुई भीड़ को कहा कि इसमें नीचे बम लगा दिए गए हैं और इसलिए अब ये पूरी गिरने वाली है, तो इनको नीचे उतार दो, नहीं तो सब लोग मर जाएंगे उसमें। तो इसलिए अगर आप लोगों को स्मरण हो, उसमें थोड़ी देर के लिए सब लोग नीचे आ गए थे, वो उसी बम की धमकी से आ गए थे। मैं चाहती थी किसी भी प्रकार से ये लोग नीचे आ जावें, लेकिन मैं कब तक रोकती, क्योंकि वहाँ भीड़ बहुत थी।
I tried my utmost. All appeals were made from my side, from the RSS side, from the Vishwa Hindu Parishad side, in all languages, but no response, and it went on. And then when I asked the police officials who were there, I would like to go and stop them there. He said, no, we can't allow you to go.
Could see right in front of us three tombs of the disputed structure, and I think the first one came down at around 1:20, and after that by 4-ish it was all over.
In Delhi, everyone was stunned into paralysis. The Rao government sent in forces, but they were stopped.
We were totally helpless. We had sent the paramilitary forces up to 4 kilometers, and thereafter they had to come back because Kalyan Singh, who was then the chief minister, he said, no, I won't allow your forces to go ahead.
By 4:49 p.m., the rubble was all that was left of the Babri Masjid.
उस ढांचे की सुरक्षा के मुकम्मल इंतजाम थे। इसके बावजूद घटना घटित हो गई, तो कभी कभी ऐसा होता है इतिहास में कि सब इंतजाम धरे रह जाते हैं, घटना घटित हो जाती है।
Kalyan Singh tendered his resignation by the evening. The Rao government cried betrayal and came under severe criticism.
With the help of the government machinery,
with the help of the officially owned equipment of the PWD. They leveled the place, created a platform, brought back the idol, put it back on the platform, made a makeshift canopy and created a new temple. When was it done? Was Mr. Kalyan Singh the Chief Minister at that time? It was Mr. Narasimha Rao who was the master of the situation, because at 7 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. that evening on the 6th, already Uttar Pradesh had been brought under president's rule. So who is responsible?
Key BJP and VHP leaders were arrested, and the government pledged to rebuild the mosque alongside a new temple at the site. The structure was demolished, but the disputes remained. This one incident changed the communal history of India, divided it emotionally, engulfed the country in a series of riots, redefined the word secular for India. Since that December day in 1992, the disputed site has remained under extreme security lockdown. The mound where the Babri Masjid stood is where the idol of Ram Lalla remained under a makeshift tarpaulin cover. For 27 years, devotees of Ram came in through narrow security pathways to catch a glimpse of their god, while the Muslims stayed away fighting the case in court. In April 2002, the Allahabad High Court began hearing on who owns the disputed land. In 2003, the Supreme Court ordered that to maintain communal harmony, no religious activity should take place at the site. On September 30th, 2010, the Allahabad High Court divided the disputed land in 3 parts. 1/3 for the Sunni Waqf Board, 1/3 for the Nirmohi Akhada, and 1/3 to the party for Ram Lalla. In May 2011, the Supreme Court issued a stay order on the entire 67-acre area. In December 2017, 32 civil rights activists filed a plea challenging the 2010 Allahabad High Court verdict. A 3-judge bench, led by the then Chief Justice of India, Deepak Mishra, began the final Ayodhya hearings. But on 2nd of October 2018, Justice Mishra retired. In February 2019, a new 5-judge bench under Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi began hearing, but first ordered a court-monitored mediation. In August 2019, the mediation talks fell through and daily hearings began. On 16th of October 2019, the daily hearings of the final arguments in the Ayodhya land dispute case concluded in the Supreme Court of India, and judgment was awaited.
In a landmark verdict, a 5-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi, ruled that a Ram temple will be built at the disputed site in Ayodhya. A trust will be created for the construction of a Ram temple. Separately, 5 acres of land will be given for the construction of a mosque somewhere in Ayodhya.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.